Hey, folks, it's Lindsey Host from SPS back in the building for another SPS Edge Show, that is. We got a lot going on today. I got my guy, Terry McCord Jr., always holding me down. You know, Coach Orlando Watkins is doing a lot of great things, helping our young people in the Metro Detroit area. He may join us, depending on if his helicopter lands. He's always doing something. But here we are, Terry. We back at it again. You know what we do every Thursday at 6 p.m. We get it in. I want to thank all the supporters that we have. We got a great group of people that's been following and supporting the show. A lot of that has to do with you, your following, your fan base, and all that. But what I want to do, man, this is not even on the agenda, but I kind of want to put this out here. I had a great opportunity to chat it up. Oh, Aaron May's in the building. What's up, brother? How you doing, man? Good to see you. We talking that green and white. We know you like that. Today I had to go in and put on my coach's shirt. Yesterday I got a chance to go over to interview Coach Izzo, man. You know, yesterday was National Signing Day, and all throughout the country, Terry, you know, there are tryouts. And I always like to use this opportunity, this platform, to be able to help others, not necessarily promote myself. Latasha Price in the building. What's up, family? I know Terry says, hey, Auntie. I'm going to say, what's up, cousin? How you doing? Hey, we appreciate your support. We appreciate you sharing the news, but we got a little bonus clip we're going to show, and we're going to chalk this up for a little bit. This is Coach Izzo and I talking yesterday.
Hey, Tom. Across the country right now, kids are trying out to make their high school team and so forth. They want to get called on National Signing Day. What's some advice you can give a kid that can carry him from the tryout to getting a phone call to say, hey, we want you to come here in the future, whether it's here or anywhere else?
Well, I think Nick Saban is very big on this, and I do agree with him 100%. There's a process, and quit trying to skip the process. Okay. I'm not saying you got to sit back and wait for everything, but the process is do what you can do today to get better to what it leads you to. Don't think about where you want to end up and then try to rush your way through it. You know, enjoy the process, work the process. There's so many guys, you know, there's always stories, you know. Michael Jordan got cut. Maybe one of these guys will get cut. You know, there's so many people that kind of work their way into things, you know. Look at Bryn Forbes for us, or Denzel, you know, guys that maybe weren't recruited as high or didn't have as much success early on. I think if you keep your nose to the grindstone and you have a goal, you have a mission and what you want to accomplish, I tell you, every one of them, just keep working at it. But don't think it's going to happen. Because too many kids right now think it's a rite of passage. Mm-hmm. You know, I should be a high school player. I should get a college scholarship. No, it's a privilege. It's like playing in that game last night. 349 schools dying to play in it before I got to. And I think that's another area that I feel for these kids, because what they see, what they read is so Disneyland. And so I would say just stick to the reality of what it is. It's difficult. It's hard to make your high school team. It's hard to get a college scholarship. It's hard to make your college team. It's impossible to become a pro. And the ones that do get to live the impossible dream.
Wow, awesome.
Thank you. Get out of last night.
Terry, you know, I just could not help but share that. I know it wasn't on our agenda for the day. Shout out to Tino screaming Maize and Blue. Hey, go ahead and put it out there, man. I ain't mad at you, fam. Good to see you, no doubt. But I think it was very timely and necessary, man. And, you know, the comments were great, but, man, towards the latter part, his candor in saying, look, I mean, have you ever heard someone say, dude, it's hard to make a high school team? And I think so often kids like to, you know, kind of downplay their high school team. Oh, man, they ain't even nothing, this and that. But he's just being realistic. And then to talk about getting a college scholarship, you know, and then saying it's impossible to get in the NBA and only a few make it. I mean, the perspective he gave, man, I thought it was so necessary. I had Coach Jokic getting with me. Speaking of Coach, you got Coach Orlando Watkins coming in the building. What's up, How you doing?
Good.
We just shared a clip of Coach Tom Izzo talking about how difficult it is to actually make the team. And you know, as a coach, probably the longest tenured coach in Detroit, you know, community schools, just, you know, the reality of this time of trials and whatnot. And Terry, I was just going to get your thoughts, Orlando. I'll let you share that. But Terry, you saw the comments, Orlando. I don't know if you got a chance to see the clip I had with Coach Izzo yesterday, which is why I'm all, you know, green and white up today with my coaching shirt on. But Terry, just tell me what your thought was about Coach Izzo's Hall of Fame statements.
No, I think what I took from it is, he's basically saying everything has its own season. Every person has their own season. I should say better. Everyone's progression and development comes at different paces. So whether one for you is making your high school team, that could be the force that gets you to make your college team or to get that college offer. Always focus on what's in front of you, because tomorrow has its own problems. I mean, it says it in the Bible. Every coach has said it. Man, it's everywhere. Today has its own worries, and so I think I think it's a metaphor, and it can be said for everything, whether it's sports. A lot of people dream big. It's important to dream big, but it's also important to handle what's in front of you. And I think a lot of times we see today where people kind of get overwhelmed and anxiety and different worries come into play because they're not worried about simple as it is making their high school team or being a starter on your team. I mean, even I don't care how ranked you are, you still have to worry about those things because it's real life. And so when you add unnecessary stress of, am I going to get drafted and I'm 16 years old, it's like that's just unnecessary stress. Izzo, has however long, I can't think of his age, but he's lived enough life to enjoy life, enjoy it. High school and college and all that stuff only comes around so often. So it only comes around once, I should say. So just kind of enjoy it while you have it and enjoy the season you're in.
Very well said, Orlando. Before I get you in, we got to shout out our extended family, Aaron Mays. He said, in this day and age, these kids, right or wrong, expect things to be given and not earned. And you're right. They totally just kind of bypass this process. And Orlando, like anyone else, like no one else would know, just being there, guys and girls, just alike. What's your take on the state of affairs as it relates to this tryout time and somebody going from trying out to being a college recruit, and just like you ran Detroit Pistons with your family, making it to those 3 letters NBA or 4 letters WNBA? What do you think?
Yeah, just to write on what Aaron is saying, he's absolutely right. These kids feel as if everyone owes them everything. This is an entirely different type of kid that's out here. I'm running behind traffic-wise, just leaving practice. We're in that tryout phase right now, and you have kids, it's almost a revolving door. There's no commitment. Mm-hmm. There's no drive to work hard. Really, they expect, here you go, here's my college scholarship. They want to dictate when they come to practice, how they're going to practice. It's just, there's no respect for the process. There's no real hard work. You're absolutely right, Aaron. What I'm seeing, at least at the high school level, is that we don't have those parents anymore that's going to tell you what you're going to do and how you're going to do it. It's the kids are running the households at this point. It's absolutely amazing. I remember my first day in high school, coach came to me, small high school, Benedictine, shout out to all my Ravens out there.
No, it's a Benny.
Yeah. I walked in the door. Coach told me I was playing football. I said, no, I'm not. I go home that day. If I said, come on, we're going to take a ride. I said, okay, I'm thinking we're going to the mall. Northland was big. I think we're going to the mall. He drive me right back up to the school, open the trunk with my bag packed. Said, coach called me. You playing?
I think that was that, huh?
That was that. I had no choice. and then really grew to love it. Wow. It's one of the best experiences of my life.
Wow.
These kids, I hate to say, we babied them. We have babied them and coddled them, and it really needs to stop.
That's true.
Shout out to Kimberly Prince, excuse me. That's extended family, Terry.
That's my grandma. That's my granny.
Hey, how are you?
Akron, Ohio.
Thank you, Ohio representative. Before we move off of this, I totally agree with everything you're saying, Orlando, Aaron as well. We appreciate that, and Terry. But when we were done with the lights, camera, action yesterday, we had some candid conversations that were really off the record, and not getting into that. But there was one comment that was made that made a lot of sense. He said, "Guess what? If you decide to leave and go somewhere else, you still got to compete. Right. You still have to compete for a spot. I don't care what coach may sell you, man. Come on over here, man. It's good. He might be stacking the deck. Right. You're still going to have to compete against someone. So whether you transfer or go somewhere else, that's the one part you can't get away from. And the more you run from, competition, the more at a disadvantage you're going to be. But anyway, I think it was a great opportunity to get some great knowledge that was very timely from Hall of Fame coach Tom Izzo, and that was a great thing. So with that, we're going to keep the show rolling. Happy to have our guy, Coach Orlando Watkins, in the building. But we'll get to the next statement, which is when you lose, forgive an F. What you see on that clip, it says a profanity at the finish line disqualifies a second-place Michigan runner. Young man from Parchment, he came in second throughout cross country. And if you heard the clip, Terry, if you heard it, Orlando, he clearly was excited about his finish. And they say sometimes you swear when you don't have the right words. Now, I got to admit, man, I'm on the fence only because I'm not necessarily mad at him, but coming off Mike Tomlin's comments about cleaning the game up as it relates to football, that sportsmanship, they said that the school did appeal, Terry, and the appeal was not upheld. It's a tough one, man, because I can get where they're like, look, man, we got to do something about this because it's such a slippery slope. For whatever it's worth, issues of race could not have really been an issue because it was a white male from what I identified. So it wasn't one of those, they're heavy on him compared to her. If it was a female, I don't know. But Terry, I appreciate you reminding me of this subject and bringing it to my attention. So what's your take on when you lose, forgive an F, which is, what he said? I
can't help but laugh because, I mean, I've heard in a state of competition, worse things being said. And for one, basketball, football, I mean, people are just giving technical fouls. So I don't know what that would equate to in a running sense. I mean, they take seconds off your run. I don't know. But I just thought it was funny because, I mean, he's trying his best. And, and they said that he got a really good time. But obviously it wasn't what he was looking for. He came in second and he just, said the F word. I'm not really big on, cussing. I clean the language. I speak clean language. I'm not really big on any of that. But
yep, you say the cussing to me in Orlando. We appreciate you, Terry. There it
is. But my big thing is, I just think that in sports, I think you want to see emotional play. You want to see players that are very emotional. Whether it's like talking junk after a big play, or whether it's just talking to yourself and just kind of riling yourself up to keep going. You want to see that stuff because that's what makes sports fun and that's what makes it interesting. But I get, if those are the rules, I think you just abide by the rules. But it's just kind of disappointing because in other senses we celebrate emotional plays, but now we're kind of giving it a negative consequence to where he gets disqualified. So yeah. I think we just got to be a bit more consistent with it, and I think consistency brings clarity. I think if we continue to see like, okay, that's what we're going to see. Even in basketball or football, that player needs to take a break from playing for a couple of plays, then he's allowed back in. I think if we continue to see consistency, I think we'll be able to see, okay, we're cleaning the game up, but it's so inconsistent. It's hard to just say we're cleaning the game up because it's happening for so often.
Yeah, and there's a few other things, Orlando, I would be willing to want to look at. I was able to see it because it was recorded. I'm curious to know if it was live stream, and I'm also wondering how quick did that decision come to decide they were going to do it? Is it because it kind of marinated for a little while? They got some feedback that wasn't supportive and they act, or was it like immediately like, no, we got to do it? Because here's the other thing. If a tree falls in the forest, do we hear it? Had it not been recorded to be able to be heard again, would it be something? Orlando, I don't know how familiar you are with that topic. I just want to get your take on it.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it was recorded. And I'm sure that was a big part of it. I mean, for me, very rarely do you see a runner. I mean, that's just unheard of.
Yeah.
And I have to agree with Terry. If you spend any time on the football field or the basketball court, you hear 20 times worse repeatedly throughout the course of a game. So, I get it. But
So what, maybe a reprimand instead of a disqualification?
I would, a reprimand is more appropriate.
What would that look like, Coach? A reprimand?
Really like an oral reprimand. I mean, hey, don't do it again, or this will happen.
And he came back. He had an apology. He did all those type of things. And,
right.
It's almost like that happened. But man, what did Aaron say? There should be a line regarding expression. If he would have said "damn," he probably would have been okay. Yeah, but he was very. True. And let's say this, Terry and I heard it. I mean, he was very colorful with how he put it. And it was just like, you can almost hear that the announcer was kind of
Right.
They couldn't bleep it out.
The shock value.
Yeah, it'll be something to be said. Let me catch up with some of these comments, man. We got some great folks checking in. Aaron also said, I agree, Lindsay, a reprimand would have been more appropriate as well. Also, that's some bull junk. And Rod don't even come. We got Mr. Wilson in the building. Heard from 50 yards away. So what are you saying, Rod? You saying that it could have been her? Help me give me a little clarity so I'll make sure I know which direction you're going on that. Dion's Hoop page chimed in for a sec. He said, what do y'all think of that Duke-Kentucky game? Man, Duke is Pablo Cherry. Well, I'm going to hold that comment because we are going to talk about that, Dion Hoops page. We appreciate you supporting us. So we got that coming up very shortly after we talk about women's basketball preview. We're definitely getting that, so stand by for us, okay? And Rod's going to give me a little clarity. We'll come back. So we'll see. Sometimes, man, it's only because we can see it can be played again, and they probably were going to feel the pressure. It is what it is. You know what? Actually, guess what? I'm going to be with William McCoy, the new assistant director at MHSA, this Sunday at the Rachel Williams Foundation, along with some Detroit Pistons, for a meet and greet, and I'll make sure we kind of broaden that discussion. So we'll see. So you guys good with that? You know, hey, it's tight out here. You can get hit up bad for running your mouth saying the wrong things nowadays, it seems, you know?
Yeah.
That's what it is. Next, guys, let's go check out Lady Hoops, because on this platform, with the support of a great amount of people, we are spending more time acknowledging our young ladies, man, out here, talking about the women's NCAA basketball preview. One of the top 10 rankings is out right now. You got South Carolina and Don Stelly, her $22 million holding it down. Coach Gino still holding down number 2, Stanford. And actually, Stanford's former assistant coach is now the new athletic director for Oklahoma's high school. So there's something to be said about that. Maryland got the Big Ten representing NC State. They went up against South Carolina just the other night, was unsuccessful. Louisville at 6, Oregon at 7, and Indiana represented with the Big Ten a little bit more as well. Terry, you had a chance to do a little research to find out what's going on with this college preview for the young ladies?
Yeah, I think, South Carolina, I think, is obviously good with, Leah Boston and Zia Cook with the E. I call her Cook with an E. I love how she spells her name, but those two, the dynamic duos, I think they could be really explosive. Paige Beckers, of course. I mean, we could talk hours and hours about how good she is. She signed a contract with StockX, so she's doing a big on, and I expect to do some big things on the court along with Kristen Williams. So my big thing, I really like Maryland's team, and I really like. I'm gonna throw some love to the Big Ten because I think the Big Ten is the toughest conference in women's basketball as it is in men's basketball. I love Big Ten hoops. I think we see a lot of dynamic players and a lot of good teams coming together. We see Indiana, Maryland. But Maryland especially, though, there's a player on that team named Ashley Owusu, and she's a 6-foot guard. She can shoot the ball. She can obviously go into the paint with her height and length, but she is her size. She's a little she's a larger woman, but she's tall, but she moves. So she's like able to be so agile, handle the ball, and she's obviously mismatch. It's an obvious mismatch because you can't put a smaller guard on her for foot speed because she's going to shoot over him. But if you put a big man or forward on him, she's going to go right past him. So somebody just to keep an eye on.
She's a tweener, huh?
She's you said what?
She's a tweener, like in between,
She's an in between. I call her point forward. That's a perfect example for her. Nas Hillman out of Michigan. She averaged last year. She averaged double-double. You got, Nia Clouden, Jody's niece. She's balling for MSU. I expect MSU to have a pretty good bounce-back year. And one of my favorites, in my opinion, I love Caitlyn Clark out of Iowa. She is one of my favorite players that doesn't get enough pub because she handles the ball so well. Like, for her, how women's basketball gets a lot of heat for not being able to play as fast. But her and Paige, man, they go back and forth. They play to handle the ball well. We're seeing pro moves. They're able to create their own shot and make very dynamic moves that I want to sit there and write notes about. I could put that in my arsenal. So just to see their advancement, man, even with Paige off the court signing so many deals in the NIL world, women's basketball right now is having a nice style, a nice flavor to it that I'm really enjoying this year, especially because there's so many big names coming up in this year.
Yeah. I want to give a special shout out to Taylor Gibson, daughter of my guy Rick Gibson from Henry Ford High School. Actually, Taylor has been part of the SPS family. She's with the University of Michigan basketball right now, doing great things out of McNamara High School in the Maryland area. And also, man, Ozzie Fudd, man, over there heading over to UConn. She got to she got to deal with right now. She got the Chipotle deal. She got some other thing. I like her, man. She's been a USA basketball stalwart for some time. Aaron May says Big Ten women's basketball this year from top to bottom may be the best in 20 years. Aaron called it out. I'm going to
conference.
Like 20, 30 years.
30 years. What you talking about, huh?
They're going to get a seed in that tournament.
Yeah, for sure. Also, I just want to check these comments and keep them in order. What's going on? I want to go do a little remix, go back to Rod to get clarity. We got to make sure we got it clear for Mr. Wills. He said he only needed a reprimand, but because he was heard from the 50th, so 50 yards away, the judge's hands were tied. Still was unfair. Okay, Rod, we understand that. Reprimand, it was just like, we got to handle this because they don't want to get that heat. But we'll also definitely bring that and other subjects up to Mr. William McCoy when we see him this Sunday. Yeah, man, it's going to be good to watch, man. You know, I have to believe, and with this platform, people have been like, dude, keep it going with these hoops. I forget which game I was watching the other night, man, but I got caught up, man, with the young ladies playing. I think it was the South Carolina NC State game because Orlando, it was just good basketball. You know what I'm saying?
It's absolutely good basketball.
It was just, please.
You know what, Lindsay? I mean, for me, and Terry, get me back on the page, but for me, women's basketball is more about the coach and the culture of the program.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Individual players don't really make that big of a difference. It's the culture and the coach that make those programs. And that's why there's the consistency with programs in women's college basketball, the Connecticut's, the South Carolina, where you have that consistency and they're going to be powerful. And then Terry, I have to agree with you, Maryland. I am like one of the biggest Maryland fans. I am just in awe. You know, I'm
the crab cakes, Orlando.
It may be the crab cakes, but I mean, but for me, I've gone out and spent $150 for all access tapes to their practices just to watch what they do.
Wow.
And how consistent it is. It is really, for the girls program, it's really about that culture in that program. And there's some coaches that are just knocking it out of the ballpark.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's awesome. I may be in trouble for not doing a homework assignment. Kyrie said, did you and a young fella check out the interview on basketball player Tina Hutchinson that was on Cheryl Miller's level? Great show. I did not. I saw it when you posted that. I didn't push play. I did not get that done. Terry is definitely an overachiever. There's a very good chance he may have gotten it done. And if he did, I'm going to look on his paper. You know what I'm saying? So forgive us. Let us get back to that. So hold us to that. Terry and I will do our research, Orlando as well, to look at that clip on Tina Hutchinson. I just did not pull that up, but I appreciate you staying on us. So forgive us, but we'll get that done. So now it's going to be something to watch. We're going to make sure, Terry and Orlando, let's hold ourselves accountable that we will keep a women's basketball piece and segment going forward, just to keep involved with what's going on in the hoops and all that. So with that, we're going to keep it moving, guys. We're going to keep it moving. We're having a great show so far. Right now, I want to shout out our sponsors, man. We can't do anything without our sponsors. Sponsorship is the lifeblood of these programs. Let's give it up to my guy, Horatio Williams, and the Horatio Williams Foundation. Like I said, I'll be down there on Sunday with William McCoy and a few members of the Pistons for our mental health roundtable. Look forward to that being a really great discussion and some great dialogue. So I want to keep you guys posted on that and what's going on. Also, want to give a shout out to Gilead Sciences as well. We appreciate their support and all the work they're doing as it relates to the world of science and helping us. And last, but definitely not least, give a shout out to my other favorite place to go hang out is Dick's Sporting Goods. I can go to Dick's, I go to Staples, man. I'm just happy with life. That's all I need, man. Get a little food and we be all right. So with that, let's keep it moving. The show keeps going. It is going on. So I know people are kind of ready to roll. Let's talk about this Champions Classic. Let's do a recap on that. I know Hoops Dion Page was chomping at the bit, like, what y'all got? So what I'll do is we'll open up. Well, maybe we can just build around his question. I know Terry and Orlando have something to have, but I got to catch myself because every year I find myself getting on a soapbox about this State Farm Champions Classic. They've extended another 4 years, and it's great that these 4 teams are able to do it. But they be pissing me off, man. How they be just still in the bag early on. How y'all just go put a Final Four at the beginning of the season? Like, let's get that bread up front, just like because they can. And now in this world of NIL, it really doesn't change anything. I just think it's the biggest, most blatant money grab there is. They can argue that it's a tune-up for those story programs, all that kind of stuff. But it's just like, dang, y'all just go do it like that. It's been 11 years. They've extended for another 4 years. They gave Coach K his roses yesterday. Day before yesterday, right before they got out there. But what I'll do is, Terry, I'm going to go to you. But in the context, I also want to make sure we go back to Deion Hoop. We got a lot of comments too, by the way. Oh, and Aaron Mays signed off and said he does agree with you, Coach O, as well. Aaron had another comment. He did talk about the Big Ten. I want to make sure I'm getting those comments in. But let's go back to Deion Hoop's page. I got you, my G. Deion said, what do you all think about Duke-Kentucky game? Man, Duke has Paolo Banchero and Trevor Keels, OMG, pros. Yeah, that's what they do. They bring pros in. He said, I was impressed with Duke, but Kentucky going to be a problem this year. They got that older type team compared to Calipari's usual team. Save this for the hoop segment. Yeah, we in the hoop segment right now. What I'll say, Terry, as I go to you, I'm a big fan of all those coaches, man. Bill Self, he need to wear a mask, and I ain't talking about for COVID, man. He's just stealing money, but that's another conversation. Hall of Fame. But yeah. Kyle is my guy. I got nothing but love for Kyle. I met Kyle several years ago through USA Basketball. Really, really nice guy, man. I just worry about Kyle always being able to turn the corner. I think he's committed to getting guys to the pros. He's committed to earning $1 billion in salaries in his NBA guys. But I just really wonder if there's something about these guys who are so focused on going to the NBA, Terry, that they have a difficulty, like, Orlando was talking about with the women's basketball program, with buying into the culture enough to be able to sustain. And let's be honest, man, when have we seen young players, despite Deion Hoop's page talking about this being more of a veteran type team, but seeing young players come in and put everything together and win a championship? So that's a whole lot with that. But Terry, I go to you. I know you're ready to get it going, but anything that you could do to kind of include Deion Hoop's page question or anything that we're talking about, but you have the floor.
Yeah, so I was gonna ask, are we doing MSU after this one? Because I group it up for real. Because I think both. Terry,
you're co-producer of the shows. However way you want to do it, Terry.
So I do Duke first in Kansas game. I saw a very high intense, very skilled basketball game. I think it was, it's the first game, so we expect, some rough spots, some miscues out of players, which we saw a little bit from Michigan State, but both teams wanted it. And I think that's what made it fun, which is why I'm kind of a big fan of this game, because you could tell that both teams know who they're going against. And a lot of times, with the one and done culture now, I think a lot of times they're going against players that are ranked higher than them. Those that are getting more pub about going to the draft and being picked in the draft higher than them. So it's a little competition. And so I think with Pablo Banchero, I think he's such a great player, such a raw athlete. But the only thing I ask for Duke to do, they got to improve shooting a little bit better. They shot 1 for 13 from the three. It's like if you're going to shoot that many, you got to at least convert maybe at least half, maybe less than half, just to kind of make your opponent respect you a little bit from the outside. And also they got to shoot better from the free throw line. So I think that was kind of weird to see that out of Duke, not a really good fundamentally shooting team that we saw on Tuesday night. But I think Kentucky, I got to give a big shout out to Big Oscar. I'm trying to figure out how to pronounce his last name, but the dude is a monster. I mean, the guy is getting rebounds, getting everybody out of the way. He reminds me, how Carmelo gets that rebound. He's telling everybody, "Hey, get out of here."
Hey, yeah.
He just reminds me of him, man. He's just such a beast, man. He had 17 points and 19 rebounds. So obviously, I think with having him in there, and I think Wheeler, another guy, he's a little undersized, but the guy is able to get his own shot off. I think if he improves his outside jumper over the course of the years, I think he'll be great. Ty Washington didn't have the best game like he was showing a lot of his skill set in the preseason openers, but I think Kentucky would definitely be a problem. And I think this year, with them being a deeper and an older team, that is going to be the difference, because both of those teams, they have the and same a little bit with Kansas with their guy Abaje. I think the fact that these teams are a bit older gives me a sense of reassurance that they'll have a really good March run, because that's what you see most in March. Teams that are a bit older have that stability and know what it takes to have a long run in March. So I'm really excited for Duke. If they improve their shooting, I think they're going to have a great year. I think Kentucky just has to continue to be able to score from the outside as well, and just continue to rely on your athleticism and play hard. So I'm really excited, man. It was really cool hearing the shoes squeak and hearing people talk on defense. It was so fun, but it was a big crowd around it. So it felt like a true, authentic basketball game, prime time.
Yeah, I'll tell you what, as we get ready to get into the Michigan State comments, and Orlando, I don't know if you want to comment specifically on Duke, Kentucky, but it's a lot of comments sitting right here, man, for this Michigan State. So I'm just letting everybody know I see you guys. There's going to be a whole lot of information I'm about to share, but it is a lot of comments ready to go. So, I just want to check with you on that, see if you had anything.
Yeah, I'm going to hit the comment with Mike's Hoops page. Kentucky and Duke are back. He put up. I don't think that Duke ever really went anywhere, but Kentucky is definitely on the way back.
I got a question for you.
It's going to cause issues.
I got a question. Now that Coach K is having, this curtain call, where do you see the program, Duke that is, in the next 2 to 5 years? I know probably the next year or so with John Shire to be going because he has these recruits, but do you still see Duke having that dominance and impact, another 2 or 3 seasons after Coach K has made his way out?
I don't think so, Lynn. And I tell you why, because right now and to go back to what you said, the big money grab, and that's what this is. Let's throw those big name schools out there, the big name players, and let's get this money grab. Let's get that television revenue and get that money. But right now, NCAA basketball is the playing field is evening and leveling out so much. And especially with this, now that money can exchange hands, you're going to see, I think this year, you're going to see the most interesting season in a very long time. You're going to see those teams that you've never heard of upset folks. You're going to get a chance to see the players that you never heard of pop up and just really take over this league. I mean, for every number one Division I player, there's a guy sitting in Jackson or some prison or on the playground that's just as good.
Right.
You're gonna see this thing level out, and that's what makes March Madness so wonderful. But I think it's really gonna level out at this point.
Yeah, I agree with that, because I also want to add, Aaron's kind of right on point. He said glorified AAU ball, because there's going to be so much other movement and other things going on that cats not going to really be able to focus, man. That was my concern. Though, if you got it's between you going to your practice or your meeting with your new NIL client, it's going to be really tough to lock in. And to Terry's point, man, it's really going to take that veteran type team to be able to make their way through, and who knows who we'll see at the very end. So this is what I'm going to do, guys, because there's been so many comments, and I kid you not. Give me a moment. I just want to read through everyone's comments, and after I read through everyone's comments, we'll just kind of take, the aggregate of that, and kind of see where we go. Because I want everyone to have their voices heard, and I'm just going to go through those, starting with Monica Jackson. She had been out here early on. She said, seeing Michigan State, I noticed compared to other teams, they don't have a pro player. I totally agree with you, Monica. It seems like that. I'm serious. Gabe Brown and Marcus Bean have hit their ceilings players. Monica, I mean, what you over here like on the scouting report? What's going on, Monica? You like really calling it out. I totally agree with that, because when they name all the pros or the prospective draft picks, nobody from Michigan State was mentioned. Monica also said, and this is the first game, but Tyson Walker didn't impress me at all. But Duke looks scary. I just think that, it's a bigger stage. If you're playing in Madison Square Garden, is a big thing. I talked to Julius Marble. He was talking to us as the media after practice.
He played good, too.
2 days ago, he did play good. But that was his second time playing in the Garden, because he played there as a freshman. Yeah. So, being there is one thing. Yo, shout out to Baller's Page. What's going on? Yeah, it might be a long season for Michigan State this year. I agree. There's no way around that. I totally agree.
It's a little early.
It's a little early. Terry, keep that optimism. Baller Page also said, did you see the debut of Imani Bates and Jalen Durham? I saw ESPN highlights. Imani had about, 25 or something like that for Memphis. Oh, my God. He said, Ja Morant, Imani Bates, the stars of the state of Memphis. My only concern right now, and this is not being overly critical of Imani, is his ability to defend. And I think that's something we want to keep an eye on, because when you get up against some grown men in the pros, you want to do that. Again, I got some more comments I want to make sure I get. So many comments. Stay with me now. Shout out to Charles Ward. He said, Tyson Walker, I did not think will be the answer. I know y'all State fans think so. Michigan State and Juwan Howard run the Big Ten. I just think Tom isn't enough good talent. Yeah, I mean, somebody made a comment, did Imani, Charles, I see you also said, did Imani hurt MSU season? I think that there was an expectation it would have been a different type of team. But when you lose somebody that's high on your scouting report, that's tough. Duke, this team can make a Final Four run for sure. If they stay healthy, that could be the case. Mike said, this is a good point. So Joey Hauser to me just hasn't done much in his MSU career. And Izzo always says he can do this and that and never shows it in games. I do want to add this part. Mike, whose page, Tom made a really good point at the opening of the season when we went there for press day. He just said blatantly, Joey hasn't been what people expected him to be. And I think similar to Monica's, I think he has somewhat hit a ceiling like a lot of these players have, unfortunately. Joshua Woskus, and I hope I'm saying your name correctly. Forgive me online. So, what do y'all predict will happen to Texas Gonzaga matchup? That'd be something to see. You got Chris Beard over there.
Yeah, I can't wait to see.
Yeah, Chad Holgram. Chad talk a lot of trash. Chad might get disqualified.
He'll give it to you.
Too.
He'll give it to you. He'll give it to you. And the thing about him is that he's real genuine with his trash talk, but he also is about his business though. So like with him, you start chatting at him. He's like, okay, you could just sense, like when him and Imani were going at it, one of my favorite high school games over the past years. Imani's talking, you know how Imani talk to you after he gets you a 3-pointer, a bucket. But Chess is like, just nodding his head, okay. And then he starts going off and he just like smile, just like Cade Cunningham did Jalen Green yesterday. Yeah. That's just who he a cold-blooded killer. I mean, the dude, Chet can give it to you in and out.
Yeah, I like that. I want to ask, who's baller scoop? I got you. I said on my page that if Michigan State had Imani Bates, they are a top 5 team because it would give them a star player. He had 17 better right now than every MSU player. It seems to be that way. That wasn't necessarily, a top opponent they were playing. You got to think about as the season goes on and they match up, it'd be something to see. Shout out to our brother Aaron. He says MSU always try to find their niche earlier. However, it may be long year. Yeah, middle of the pack in the Big Ten. Now, I think Izzo takes too much tinkering. But to Izzo's credit, they call him Mr. March for a reason. He may come out unranked. Next thing you know, man, he going to be, mid-season making his way up the ladder. All these other things happen because that's when his expertise kicks in. He knows it like no other. I want to make sure.
And then Lindsay, I'm going to agree with that. And don't ever count Tom Izzo out.
Don't count.
He is one of the most brilliant coaches out there.
Yeah.
I don't care, talentless or whatever. He'll find a way to win. That man is an absolute fanatic.
Yeah, and and to be honest, he's with the exception of Coach K, he's about to be one of the longest service coaches around who can do it. Right. Mike Tuspage also. I just wonder if from afar looking, while the 5-star players pass on Tom Izzo, I think after Jaren Jackson, Miles Bridges, and he didn't win them, and Gabe Brown and everything, players are turned off. You wonder, will he ever win another title at 66 years old? I think they are turned off because Tom is really a blue-collar type coach. The worst thing that happened in a good way was that he won a national championship because now there's an expectation. You look and say Champions Classic. I think a lot of these one-and-done players are looking to be in a program that's going to allow them to just really flourish, and Tom just doesn't have that kind of system. However,
true.
Jaren came there because his dad is a former pro, and he said, look, I got to toughen my son up before we go to the NBA. Yeah. So having that experience does that. And when you have him have that connection, he can come back and be involved in the grind week and all this. The other part of it is the guys who leave in Michigan State and go to the NBA, they end up having sustainable careers. Moni just checking in with us. She cooking dinner. She said, hey, fellas, just sticking my head in. I'm cooking dinner. So I'll watch the show later. Don't let your young fella kill y'all. Okay.
He always does. I think Lindsay, going back to State, to give a perfect example of Izzo and the type of player, Montein Cleaves.
Yeah.
Was his ideal player.
Didn't
you know what I'm saying? Fantastic leader. Didn't have to stand power in the league, but that's the type of player he wants. A player that fits into his system,
Yeah.
and does what he asked them to do. Because I'd look at, you have to be a certain type of player to play for Izzo. You have to be that type of kid that comes in and that can learn 50 sets. He's running set for every game he's going to. You learning 20, 25 sets. You have to be that player that fits into that system and works for him.
I think,
and not vice versa. So all this thing about if Amani was there, they'd be a top 5 team. No, because Amani is not the type of player that's going to fit into that system. He's going to buck the system.
Yeah.
What you said about that. Who's the Michigan State, freshman everyone's loving right now? What's our guy name?
Max Christie.
Yeah, Tom said specifically to your point, Orlando, he said he loves the fact that Max picks up on things so quickly.
Right.
So to your point about having multiple sets, I think that's something we downplay, and we often look at athleticism as a tell-all. But to Tom's point at the beginning of the show, when we played the clip, he said, man, it's hard to get a college scholarship to make a college team. Right. Because you go from being, the best player within 100 miles, and now you out here competing night in, night out, and it can be really rough.
Again, I think something to add to that too. If you go back to the Final Four runs they had, you just even look at their star players on their team. You got Travis Trice, even with just Travis Trice, period. Denzel Valentine, players that aren't doing well in the league. Some of them aren't even in the league anymore, but it's because they were good college players that Izzo took him underneath his wing and taught him how to play basketball. It's like Izzo 101. This is what we're going to do here. This is what I need you to do, and I need you to relay this back to the team. I think because Bridges and Jaren Jackson kind of already knew and had their own identity as a player, because you can't tell me that Denzel Valentine, Travis Trice, Brandon Dawson, Gary Harris a little bit already kind of knew their identity as a basketball player coming into college. I would argue they didn't. And I think Izzo was able to give his own his way of his philosophy of playing basketball. He was able to put that in them, and that became their identity. Yeah. A guy like Miles Bridges and Jaren Jackson, those guys already know they're about to be lottery.
They were freaks in a good way. Miles was a freak of nature with his athleticism. Jaren was the same with his size and pedigree. So I think you're right when you exclude those two as far as what they had. They kind of knew from an early age it was going to be happening. But you're right, those other guys did benefit from that. Right. Guys, we're having a great show. I'm glad that everyone's chiming in. This is that time where our sage, young Terry McCord gets it in. We're going to go and talk about the college football playoff prediction of what we got right here. Sorry this is cut off a little bit, but you can get an idea. Right now we got number 1 Georgia, Alabama, Oregon, and of course Ohio State. We know Terry likes that. And then for a moment, Michigan State was up in there, man. You blink, it comes and goes, but I think it's something to be said. I appreciate the relationship with Mel Tucker. We've been able to talk just about after every game, and I won't go into the specifics of what he said after the loss to Purdue, Terry, but let's just say he's focused on what's next. And boy, to be at a point where the last 2 seasons when I was in the press box, Orlando, watching this game and hearing the press and media constantly talk about this anemic offense, to be at this point where these guys are putting up points and just really teetering on a college playoff is amazing. So, right. Terry, Orlando, I know you don't want to mess with this guy. I know you want to become
No. You have to let the young prodigy go.
Let him go. Okay. Terry, we're gonna give you your segment, and you educate us and the rest of our folks on what's going on, and we'll let you have it with the college playoff prediction.
So my prediction, I think this may be a hot take, but my prediction would be Georgia 1. I have, based off the rankings now, I have Ohio State 2.
Sure you do.
Yeah,
it's really Ohio
State. It's amazing the way Ohio State just elevates.
I know.
And if I honestly, to be the way it's right now, because we lost to Oregon, I got Oregon at 2, Ohio State 3 for a rematch, and I got Cincinnati at 4. I don't think Alabama makes it, and I don't think they do, because I believe that they have to beat Georgia in the SEC championship game. If they don't slip up before then, they have to beat Georgia to make it. I think with the 2-loss Alabama team, I don't think they have the right to get in there. I think that is I think that, Georgia, Ohio State, or Oregon, however the committee's feeling, because Ohio State, I have them beating Michigan, and I have them beating MSU, and I have them beating, it looks like maybe Wisconsin coming out of the West.
Let me just ask really quick, only because you said a buzzword again. The conversation we had with Coach Izzo went back and forth between his favorite sport, which is football, and basketball, and he made a good point. He said this committee now, Terry, is a little bit more administrative driven compared to coach driven. So when you talk about a team, a program like Alabama, there may be other things taken into place, as something like who travels. Yeah, how does the team travel well? And bringing people in. We got some comments.
That's true. That's true. I just don't think Alabama beats Georgia. But
Aaron disagrees with you. Your brother Aaron disagrees. And real quick, Latasha Prince says, "Ohio, let's go." Okay. So what you think about? Aaron is saying he disagrees with you, Terry. He said Alabama will beat Georgia in the conference championship. Could it be Alabama has Georgia number when it comes down to it? It's just like they can't get over the hump, and until Nikki retires, shout out to our guy John. Until Nikki retires, Coach Saban, that is the way to the conference championship is going to be through Alabama.
I just think that I think with Georgia's inconsistencies on offense, I think it does get Alabama a chance. But that Georgia defense is like an iron curtain. I mean, there's no getting around that defense. So I think the only way for Alabama to really get around that is for the coaching staff, Nick Saban, and those guys really to put together a very good game plan for Bryce Young and those young speedsters on the outside to really kind of disrupt this Georgia defense. Because one, Georgia's not afraid to show you what they're going to do. They're going to show you they're going to blitz you, and they're going to show that they're going to play man-to-man. Because, look, I kid you not, they're going to bring everybody in the box and leave their DBs in single coverage on the island because they just think they're better than you. Kirby Smart is notorious for blitz packages, disguising what he's going to do, but today he's going to do it. But I think that although they're losing their top linebacker, I think Alabama just isn't as solid. And because of them losing my pick, them losing to Georgia in the SEC championship game, I think that with them losing to Texas A&M, who's not that good this year, and them losing to Georgia, which is a solid loss, I think that's just not enough to keep an undefeated Cincinnati, a one-loss Ohio State who's going to beat Michigan State, and Penn State, some solid wins, and a good Oregon team. So I think Cincy and those teams get in.
Terry, I got that question for you now. Yeah. There's another school that begins with an O that may slip up in that conversation. So my question to you, Oklahoma.
Yeah, I was gonna say that. Okay. Hey, but Orlando, real quick. Did you see how he easily glossed over Aaron's comment when Aaron said, "Don't forget Georgia lost one of their linebackers"? He was like, "Yeah, I know they lost the linebacker."
They do. Yeah. Even though they lost them, but Georgia just refills, man. They all it's almost like that they breed linebackers. They breed these dudes to understand what's going on. But I'm not going to underestimate Saban. But I'm just going with my gut feeling today. I just feel like the Alabama team has just shown so many lapses. Like against LSU, the LSU team is horrible. Granted, LSU is always going to play their best game against Alabama.
Mel Tucker's team was horrible.
But you always remember, it's Alabama.
That's true. That's true.
Alabama got a whole lot of money, a whole lot of fans. So we're going to call it fair. But I want to go back.
Okay.
What are your thoughts on Oklahoma?
Real quick.
That's true.
Terry said, I think Cincy go get snubbed at the end, which I think may be the case based on them just not having that pedigree. You say, what's the deal on Oklahoma, Orlando?
That's what I need to know.
Too many inconsistencies, too many tough losses. I think what's hurting Cincinnati is similar to what's hurting Oklahoma. Just not enough style points. And I hate to say it, just too many close wins. And I think they're going to end up losing. They do have a big game this week against Baylor. I think that game is going to be very, very interesting because Baylor does a lot of things well, and they're a power team. I mean, I think it's weird to say they're a power team in the Big 12. I think it's hysterical, but I think that the way that Baylor brings it to teams, like the way they run the ball, Oklahoma struggles on defense stopping anything, let alone the run. So I think that Baylor's going to challenge them, and I think it's going to be another hopefully close win for their playoff hopes. But I think I wouldn't be surprised if Baylor comes out of there with a win.
Well, it's going to be something to watch. We're going to definitely keep an eye out. Again, I just want to take a moment and shout out our sponsors. Without the sponsorship of the Horatio Williams Foundation, we wouldn't be able to keep going like that. I got to pay these big contracts to Orlando. Terry, boy, I tell you what, man, they're making it hard for me. Shout out to the Horatio Williams Foundation, also Gilead Sciences, as well as Dick's Sporting Goods. And just as a shout out to City Detroit, I'll be in Detroit tomorrow at King High School for King versus Allen Park in the regional championship. They have quarterback Dante Moore at King, who's getting looked at from Michigan State and others. And also the young man who's a quarterback over at Allen Park. I'll tell you his name in a second. Doing some good things. So it's going to be some good football going on in Detroit. So that was Terry McCord with the Terry McCord Show right there, making it happen. And Orlando posed some good questions. And again, Terry McCord Sr. making a good point, thinking I think Cincy going to get snubbed. We're going to see what's happening with that. So almost halfway through the show, I'll say more than that. Let's talk about what's really been interesting for the lack of why this is not a big deal. Both of these players are unvaccinated, but only one is demonized in the media. Do at the end of the day, when we were talking about Kyrie, we were lighting him up.
Yes.
Now it seemed like there's been this pass Orlando when it came down to, no pun intended, that is, to Aaron Rodgers and his misstatement. At least with Kyrie, he was like, "Look, I'm not vaccinated."
That's it. Aaron Rodgers, I'm just gonna go straight into it. He needed to be suspended. Everything. The point is that now you go to we did dog Kyrie, but the point is that at least Kyrie was up front. I'm not vaccinated. I'm not getting vaccinated. I need everybody to know.
Yeah,
Aaron Rodgers playing games. Well, I'm getting my medical advice from Joe Rogan. You know, all these excuses. The man lied and jeopardized that entire team.
And to be honest, man, there's really been no blowback. You don't hear nothing, and nobody's saying nothing. It's like whatever, you know. Yeah. And then you know what? I'll do this for myself included. Not because I'm not going in on Aaron Rodgers. You know, my thing with Kyrie was, despite his feeling, I just really, you know, personally just felt like, you know, get the vaccination, keep it moving. Now, the thing with Aaron Rodgers is just kind of like, man, am I part of the psychological part where because it's a black man, I go harder, and because it's Aaron Rodgers, like, whatever. But I'm still, I mean, the fact that we got it on the show was prompted by, hey, let's just have this conversation.
He needs to be suspended. Period.
Mm-hmm. Speaking of that, my mama said Rodgers suspended, fine, all that double standard. That's what it is, mama. It's a double standard.
My favorite thing was that, like, they literally released that Rodgers wasn't vaccinated and will miss the game because he tested positive and he's not vaccinated. It's just the fact that he had the audacity to still say that he was, or to change the wording.
Yeah, I'm immunized.
Yeah,
I'm immunized. So he had a chicken pox shot, measles shot coming up through middle school.
Yeah, it's like the fact that he changed the wording just shows like he's not taking this very seriously, and he should get backlash for sure.
Yeah, well, he's like, what they gonna do? Here's what I want to say: where is Stephen A. Smith on this? Because he was lighting up Kyrie.
Oh, he got Rodgers. Oh, he got him.
Yeah, okay.
He called him a liar. He went in on him. Yeah.
Speaking of Aaron, let's talk about the Aaron that we know and love. Hey, everybody was in on the game. The Packers and the NFL knew he was not vaccinated. That's why he just got a slap on the wrist and pays a fine. Yeah, what's his fine? $14,000. That's like you know, me going to buy a $5 fillet of salmon at Whole Foods when I get up out of here. Like, what is that? You know what I'm saying?
But my thing is, the Packers, the players have to go ahead and really make that punishment, because the NFL is not. The point is that you in my locker room, I'm assuming that you're following all the protocols that I'm following. I got a family. I got kids. I got a career here. We're doing well. And then you jeopardizing my livelihood with your nonsense.
Yeah. And it's almost like that prima donna part. And to be honest, I can't. Will I go as far as to say I'm an Aaron Rodgers fan? I'm indifferent. I like Aaron Rodgers. I don't got no beef with him. I'm kind of more so leaning towards being a fan of him. But he said, look, I know what I could be. What she say? My mama say it, Orlando. Hey, my mom was serious about that when it come down there. And I got to be honest, man. It's my mother that drives me as it relates to vaccination. You know, my mother is part of that, unique group of individuals who are, at risk. She lost a lot of her friends, man. I mean,
I think everybody that's in listening range of this podcast has lost somebody to this.
Yeah.
And whether you believe what the CDC says or what the scientists say, you got to understand there's a tremendous loss of life, and especially in this area, we have to be top of the nation right now.
Oh, I just saw in the news that Metro Detroit is considered a hot spot right now. And then I don't know if there's this invincibility or what fame does, where they're like, it really don't apply to me, but. Aaron Rodgers, you got to think about it, man. He's been on this high horse since the season started. I mean, he was, we thought he wasn't even going to be with the Packers and doing what he want to do, and it seems to be working for him. So with that, we'll keep an eye on that and go from there. The show is rolling. We're having a great show. We're getting ready to hit the hour mark, but we got a few more topics. And this one I just titled simply, Odell, Odell, Odell. Now, let me say in the word, I'm a fan of Odell. Odell may get on your nerves, whatever it is, but there's something about Odell that even though he be doing this thing, I'm going to, tip my hat to him. At press time, when we were putting this together, we didn't know they were talking about the Saints. They were talking about Packers. They were talking about the Chiefs. But as we know now, he will be a Los Angeles Ram. And boy, with that, what'd you say, Orlando? Hey, let me just go to Orlando right there. That nod said it all. Oh, what you think, man?
That is, look out. That's all I can say.
Well, here's what I say to that too. The potential seems great. I know Terry's gonna give us his view, but the other part of it is, if you can't get it done, as a comedian Corey Holcomb sometimes say, well, it's you, baby. If you can't go over there and fit into that situation, get it done. Looks like basically go ahead and get you a ring. At the end of the day, his legacy, I think, Terry, would be that he is what people said he was. He's a problem.
He has that drive right now. He has something to prove. He has something to show. All the naysayers, everything else.
Get out of his own way, Orlando. Is he one of those guys, despite what he wants to do? Can he get? We almost thought that, what's our buddy down in Tampa Bay? With Tom Brady and we thought AB was like that, but he did get out of his way long enough to get a championship, to get a Super Bowl. But can Odell get out of his way long enough to get this opportunity to go?
Odell has been surrounded by controversy. I think he's got those knocks in the head. I think he's learned his lessons. He's got an opportunity to prove all of us wrong. And I think he's going to do it.
And it must be something that's really good for the LA Rams to say, we want to bring him into this culture, which meant that he must have a conversation. He must like, look, man, it's this, and that. And to Terry McCoy Sr.'s point, he said OBJ better off. Mayfield was holding him back. They talked about how many times that he got looked off, and it's like, come on, man, what's going on? So we'll see. So Terry, we'll hold our thoughts until the man of the hour gives us his take, man. I mean, that was your man. That was your Cleveland Brown guy. I mean, he's making a move. What you think about this, Terry?
No, I'm actually pretty happy that he left. It's sad to see because I thought he could have been a very valuable weapon, but sometimes some great weapons don't really fit in what you're trying to accomplish. The Browns' whole philosophy is run first, pass second, and really pass when you have to, or pass to keep them honest defensively. So you see a lot of long shots. We saw a long touchdown pass to Donovan Peoples-Jones against the Bengals this past Sunday off of play action. So I think Odell Beckham, in order for him to get going, I think there are a lot of factors that have to go in. I think Baker Mayfield's inconsistency has been, like my dad said, has been holding Odell back. But I think I'm really excited that he's with the Rams because I think Sean McVay does a really good job of putting his players in space. Cooper Kupp, a fun guy I love to watch. He's always in the right spot. I think it's going to be interesting because I think teams are starting to level in on Cooper Kupp. and Robert Woods, because those are really the two of their and they're both slot guys. They're not really a number one receiver. Deshaun Jackson decided to move on, so that opens up a spot for Odell. I think Odell will have his turns of the long shots and being kind of that number one guy, but I think it'll be fun because Sean McVay puts his players in great positions to be great. I mean, we might be seeing Odell run the ball like they like to do with their receivers. We might see him with these long crossing routes, and we know what Odell can do run after catch. I mean, dude has track speed, like unreal track speed. I mean, he's gonna be piecing out and dancing and doing all his stuff in LA, man. It's gonna be a lot of fun. But
and that's another thing too. He could be, getting to Tinseltown. You know what I'm saying? It's like, hey, let me get out here and really, get to a place that I fit in. I didn't even think about that part.
I just think that Odell will be able to handle himself. I think, if Jalen Ramsey and all those supposed head cases and all these players that have, bad attitudes, I think he'll be fine. I think they're in a winning culture. I think winning solves everything. And so I think it'll be a lot of fun just seeing Odell. But I'm kind of, on a selfish note, I'm kind of upset because I think Odell is going to.
I was waiting for that.
I think Odell. I just think he's gonna steal my fantasy points for Cooper Kupp because he's gonna steal his receptions. But that's the only part I'm a little spiteful on.
This young man, it was that nugget of genius. Did you listen to him, Lindsay?
I heard him.
Winning solves everything.
That's it.
Never a truer statement.
Yeah, that's it. We'll deal with you. We got a shot at it. We'll do it. I'm sure it's probably a 1-year deal or whatnot. We'll see. And the hope is that he don't get out here leaving Cleveland, get turned out to the LA lifestyle. But we're going to see. We're almost out of here, man. One thing I saw this week that really disturbed me, man. I'm trying not to go hard in the paint, man. But, what's up with Mac Jones, man? What was this move all about? He got sacked. It was not a football play. He grabs the defender, turns and just rolls his ankle. Like, what's going on? And, what's the status of this right now? I mean, Terry, give me your feedback on what was going on with that Mac Jones play against Carolina Panthers. Dirty.
I saw a guy go in about it all over social media on TikTok, TikTok. But, guy was just saying, man, he's gotten DUIs. His character was in question during the draft night of like whether this guy is
wow.
A character that we'd want in our locker room. So the fact that the guy that he did that, I think it's like a gator roll. People were calling a whole bunch of stuff, but the fact that the guy that he did it to was getting the MRI on his knee, and it's like, dude, you're jeopardizing his he might be the breadwinner of his family. Yeah. He's not gonna be out there.
Brian Burns, he says he addresses Mac Jones' ankle tackle. He said it's some bull. So he was really upset. So it wasn't no leverage when it came to that.
He needs to get suspended, in my opinion, because I think that's just an unfootball move. He's a defenseless player to me. He's not. He's not really in the way. Mac Jones is not making a football move, so I think he deserves to be suspended. It's really dirty, and I hate to say it, but it's something that he's been known to do.
Yeah, but I wonder, Orlando. He's an Alabama guy, and up under Nick Saban. So was it Saban's, legendary coaching that kind of masked this? Was it something that was always, under the radar? What?
It's part of his DNA. Honestly, it's part of his DNA. Alabama or not, he is what he is. And that's and Terry's right. It was just a sit back and wait.
Yeah,
till something went wrong.
So what do you think?
But he's talented enough for let me take this chance.
Yeah,
let me step out here and bring him into the fold.
So what do you think may happen? One of his old linemen one time may miss a significant block. He'll get his head, popped off. Because something got to happen for this.
His team will have his back. I think it's opposing defenders. I think dudes are going to be putting a target on him.
Yeah, it's going to be a target, and there's a price. That he paid to do that.
Yeah.
So there's a way of resolving this without resolve. You know what I'm saying? Without it being admitted, it will get resolved.
Yeah, it's gonna be something.
They got Myles Garrett this week too, so I know Myles already got it.
Yeah, we're gonna see. Well, we're gonna keep an eye out for that. And Mac Jones better have somebody walking to the parking lot. Well, the last thing we have is kind of similar. We got, what's going on with these guys and their response. Now, I actually saw the clip of this. The Joker wasn't joking. He did this same thing, at the end of the season. Before, Marquise, gave him a little body check, but they talked about Marquise, man, that he could have had some serious injuries. And, here's the real reason why I brought this up. They keep talking about these Jokic brothers, these Serbian, they might be down with the mind. I don't want to hear that. I ain't impressed. Okay, y'all big and bad. The one brother, he caught a charge. You know why he caught a charge? For choking a woman. You a punk. Punk. So everybody giving him this gangster mafioso status, but you choking a woman that wanted to leave your apartment in Denver, and you was mad because she told you she had slept with somebody else. So right there, Orlando, that tell me the kind of guy you is. You a sucker, you a punk, but they coming off that they so gangster, and I ain't impressed. And Jokic, all that, whatever, man, whatever y'all did, I'm just not feeling that, and I'm not putting all this on the Marquise brothers to make it, but Philly don't play. Them cats out of Philly. And you know what I'm saying? It's like, it don't got to be them doing it. People will do it just for the love. So as far as I'm concerned, Markieff and them a whole lot closer to home than Jokic and his people. So I think it was bad. It's amazing to me how we starting to see these European, like Luka has those moments too. I won't say in having a physical outburst towards another player, but they get these outbursts. It's almost like this prima donna type thing all of a sudden. I'm kind of surprised by that. But we're going to see what's going to happen. Aaron says, Morris started the whole thing. He didn't expect to get hit back. I don't blame you. I agree with that. But I think what's happening is, based on what happened is, Jokic ended up getting, suspended for that, because it was like a body check, but it was like for him to come back like that is one of the other things. And I don't know, it was a whole lot. Then they were saying Jimmy Butler coming off the bench late after the fact. Who made a good comment one time, Terry? It was Steven Jackson made a comment. He said, nobody want to fight. He said, we all friends. At the end of the day, we all friends, and nobody really want to fight. It just happens to be like that. I don't know what you think about the whole thing before we let Terry bring it in and show us what's up.
I just kind of agree with Aaron. I think it was a point of over making a statement. I'm thinking because there are players out there, and there's plenty of them that they're solid players that don't get the respect that they think that they deserve. And they'll step over that line to try to get that respect. It may be the wrong way to get that respect. But I think he stepped over that line to try to let it be known that, I'm about that life.
So how is
you going to get this type of response from me?
How was that supposed to be handled, if handled at all, Orlando?
For me, if it was me, I hate to say it, Lindsay. I don't, the way we teach our kids, I hate it. Oh my God, I'm exposing myself on the podcast. The way I teach the kids is that, we don't make it obvious. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
We wait.
Okay.
We wait. You'll get a trip or a push a little later on in the season, but I'm not going to forget about it. But right now, we're going to let it go right now. But we're going to get you. We'll forgive right now, but we ain't going to forget.
And then it seemed like when those things happen, let's just be real about it. That's when the officials, other people say, look the other way. I mean, let's take it back to old school NBA. Hey, that Robert Parrish, Bill Laimbeer dust up, we knew that was coming. I was a kid. That was
you sitting waiting for it.
Yeah, but here's the crazy part, Terry. When Bill Laimbeer and Robert Parrish got into it, Robert Parrish came out and dropped the boys on them. I'm talking about hitting them in the face, all that. Didn't even get ejected. They just broke them up because the NBA like, oh, we knew that was coming. Terry, what you think about this whole thing? We going old school on you, Terry. We know it's a new day. What do you think about this whole situation with the Joker not joking when it came down to that?
I think definitely the Morris brother definitely started it. I think Jokic kind of retaliated, which I thought was appropriate, but I mean obviously the NBA didn't think so. But I'm just not really a big fan of the brothers talk because I mean Marcus and Markieff have done. Marcus was stepping on Luka's ankle, and it's a lot of like, the league tough guys, and it's been, cool and
The
funny
league
to
tough
watch.
guys that's never thrown a punch.
And same thing with the
Say it
Jokic
again,
brothers.
Lansing.
The league tough guys who never thrown a punch. It's a different kind of league.
It's just the same thing with the Jokic brothers, man. It's like, oh, what about them? Jokic got them. It's just like a bunch of hoopla about nothing. Move on. It happened. Like nothing is gonna happen. They're talking about Miami players waiting for Jokic outside in the tunnel. No, they weren't. Like, dude, do you know how much security is in an arena? They're not gonna let that happen.
Oh yeah,
There's just a whole bunch of talk, and it's just a bunch of nonsense. And you see Jimmy Butler, and you saw what Tyler Hero did. He was right there in front of Jokic, and he just kind of looked at him and just backed up like, oh, no, never mind.
What's the Mr. Wilson say? Morris did start it, but Jokic was trying to hurt dude. Coming from behind like that could have been a real dangerous face. So you say that was not a veteran way to handle that, because it was basically saying, instead of, mano y mano, I'm going to go over the top with it, whatever or not. Who was the person who fought, who broke Rudy Tomjanovich's jaw, Orlando?
I can't remember. I was just going to bring up a story because this is the kinder, gentler NBA. I remember my grandfather.
Or some would say softer NBA.
Right. I remember my grandfather taking me to Olympia Arena to see the Pistons. And I remember, I don't remember the opposing player, but I remember Bob Lanier beating a Cleveland Cavalier up into the stands. I'm talking about the 4th or 5th row.
Oh wow! You said
swinging
the whole team.
They cleared it up.
Okay, and they
everybody got no suspensions, none of that. Everybody back on the floor playing.
Yeah, it was. Hold on, I want to get these names right. Oh, I'll tell you another name. X-Man. No. Mad Max, who played for who played for Houston, would run up on it. Kermit Washington. Thank you, Rod. I was just pulling it up. That's what I thought. I almost said Kurt Flood, but he's a baseball player. Kermit Washington. Hey man, these guys was breaking jaws.
Oh yeah.
And boy, Mad Max, man, he didn't mess around. He was taking it to MJ. He will go up in the stands. Same thing with Dale Davis. Dale Davis and them cats. So it's just a different thing. The hope is that we can move on, but I think that everybody is trying to flex in a certain way. What did our brother Aaron say? There's no such thing as fighting fair or hit somebody fair. You're right. Once them hits come out, it is what it is.
Yeah.
Well, guys, this is what we have. We have had another great show, some great topics. I'm just so grateful that as things happen in sports, we have a platform and some great folks that could come out and support us. I want to say to everybody who had their comments, definitely people got their MSU fix in, whatnot. But it's been great. Orlando, you leaning up like you got one more PSA before
I got one more PSA.
What you got, Orlando?
Hey, it's Veterans Day. I just want to, I don't know if you addressed it at the beginning of the show. I was a little late. But I'm going, my hair wild. I'm taking my hat off to the veterans out here in the audience.
Yeah.
Right. I'm a veteran. Both my sons are veteran. I'm sure there's plenty of veterans. Listening. Thank you.
Yeah. When I joined
your service.
The Marines as a reservist, man, I always had a certain feeling about it. And I never forget, years ago, Terry, I was in Williamson. A guy told me something. He said, when you signed up and joined, thank you, Aaron, you wrote a blank check with your body.
That's it.
He told the government, he told the United States, hey, man, take me. So during that time when I was in college and doing my reserve duty and training down at Broadhead, Armory, the Marine Corps Armory right there at Belle Isle.
I had no idea you were a jarhead.
Yeah, yes, sir. Yes, sir. You enjoyed saying that too, didn't you?
Yes, I did. I'm Army.
But it was a great experience. So shout out to all the veterans as well. People out here doing their thing. So with that, I want to thank Mr. Terry McCord Jr., Coach Orlando Watkins. We had another great show. We are always here to talk about your topics, and we appreciate all the support. So with that, we'll see you guys next time. Shout out from the SPS Edge Show. Take care.
Take care.